This is the Project B.A.I.T News Analysis, the Rambo Report for my people. When we take this, it is election day, and I voted early. I voted a week early, something like August 1st, over on East Grand Boulevard. And let me tell you, there was no line. I was the only person there when I went in the late morning to vote. Now, sometimes there'll be a dozen or so people, like when the presidential election is on. It's early voting is heavier. But sometimes people talk about having voter fatigue. I have no idea what that means. I like voting. In fact, I like voting so much, I think we should vote again next year on the mayor. We shouldn't vote every 4 years. We should vote as often as possible. At the minimum, every 2 years. I think that the only reason we got, in my neighborhood, my street swept is because there's an election. Because for 4 years, the street just got dirty, and it'd be a heavy rain or heavy snow, and that would wash the dirt away. But this past month, in early August and late July, we got 2 street sweepings, and I was shocked, as they say in Casablanca. And you probably were too, in your neighborhood, to have your streets swept for something that should be just an ordinary event. This was a surprise, even greater. So that, in my mind, there seemed to be some sort of parallel relationship between an election and work being done in the neighborhoods, because obviously most of the voters reside in neighborhoods. So that per force, if you expect to get anything in your neighborhood, you got to go out and vote. So I voted. I vote religiously. It's an article of faith with me. And I hope it is with you. Because as you notice, every time there's an election, I put up this little sign, I voted, did you? Because interestingly enough, when I was over at East Grand Boulevard, the election clerk didn't give me this little sticker. So I had to go back after I thought about it and ask her. And it was there. So I got my sticker, and that made my day. In fact, voting should make your day, because it's a sign of democracy, is that you get an opportunity to vote. Even if the clerk, our current clerk, is somewhat reluctant to count the votes or to lock the ballot boxes and has to be sued and taken to court on a regular basis about it. Even with that, even with the discrepancies, I still enjoy voting, and you should too. Because if the clerk is going, or anybody, the clerk's deputy, is going to mess with the ballot, at least give them a lot of work to do, okay? But in the meantime, I think you should vote. I hope you did. Now, with regard to slates, I don't know if there's a slate out now or not, but when you go over to East Grand Boulevard to vote, there's nobody there with their slates handing out, so that maybe they think not enough people are going to come out ahead of time and vote. But slates are okay. It's a sign of organization. But slates should follow what the people say, the intent of the people, as much as they can. Other than that, the slate follows what the payment they get indicates. So that if you own a slate, like a colleague of mine, James Cole Jr., has his Cherokee Law slate, and one of the challenges he had is to get the candidates to put up some money in the slate. Now, advanced slates, if you don't put up bucks, you don't get on the slate. So that really, slates are just a reflection of investments. And if a candidate who has a big fundraiser, a whole lot of money, $1 million budget, he will be or she will be on a lot of slates. If you got a nickel and dime budget, you're not going to make any slate. You can go into their screening committee and recite or develop an entire constitution, manifesto. And they'll say, thank you very much, and bye. And then someone comes in with $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, hands that money in, and then gives their piece. They're likely going to be endorsed and take pictures and put it on the internet and all that sort of thing. So don't pay any attention to that. Make your own decision. Be polite when they hand you the slates, but don't throw them away. What I used to do when I used to go to the polls, I would compare slates, see how many people got bought, how many slates got bought. Now, the clerk predicted we'd only have 10 or 15% turnout. That means 85 to 90% of the people, potential voters, registered voters, didn't turn out. That'd be a crying shame, That would, because if you end up with that kind of percentage, 85 to 90% of the people who don't turn out, you're looking to go back into a dictatorship. This has been another Project B.A.I.T. News Analysis, the Rambo Report for my people. This is the Project B.A.I.T. News Analysis, the Rambo Report for my people. Now, you see something different today. We got a logo cap. When you see me walking down the street now, you won't have to wonder and have to rack your brain as to who it is riding T-Dot bus with the rest of the masses. For yours truly. After now, we started in 1970. They had baseball caps back then, but we weren't ready to get a cap then. So this is 47 going on 48 years later. We got a baseball cap with our logo on it. This is one of the most famous logos in the world right now. We're really in a new line of business. And one of the things you need to be aware of when you go into business is your purpose, all right? And with this, for me, and I wrote out a purpose, it is to learn something new. One of the things you have to do to keep your mind, to keep your brain strong, is to use it. You've heard the saying, use it or lose it. Well, going into the clothing line business, which we are in now, you have to, because obviously none of us were in the clothing line business before as a business. I mean, you've probably seen our 40th anniversary T-shirt that Will Amos designed and developed in our 40th anniversary 7 years ago. We showed that, but that was just an anniversary product, okay? That wasn't really a full clothing line business. And so That reminded me that Ernest Bright, some decades ago, she got us a T-shirt and a tote bag with the logo. Some of you may have it, and if you do, we'd appreciate it if you take a picture or pictures and email it to us, because we'd like to show our early history. You know, when you talk about Black history, well, that would be an example of B.A.I.T history. And we'd like to show you in it. But now we got another line, and it's starting with the baseball cap, okay, and about a half a dozen other products. And we'd like for you, as a supporter, to wear it like I'm wearing it, you know, like saying I'm Black and I'm proud, that kind of thing. Well, I'm for my people, which is even better. Now, when you get into a new business, you ought to begin to study it, okay? So I'm studying it, and easy enough, I just go to the Detroit Public Library, and I ask them for books, and this is the one I got, How to Sell Clothing, Shoes, and Accessories. You've heard the saying, I assume, that if you read a book a month on any topic, in 2 years you'll be an expert. Well, if we're around on this program for 2 years, and I read a book a month on clothing, shoes, and accessories, in 2 years I'll be an expert. And you'll be seeing our commercials and billboards all over the place. We had a focus group, our group that meets on Saturday regulars. We focus group our products, because that's another method to get feedback and learn what you're doing. You see, if you just do it by yourself, as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Well, we want to go far, very much like with For My People TV show. The only reason we've been able to go far is because we have gone together. For all the people that have come through, and for all the folk who are still relating to us. The reason why we're still here is because we've gone together. And one of the reasons why you see so few of the old programs, that I see so few, for example, of the old programs from the 70s, Black programs for TV, is because the brothers all went alone. They all went alone. It was always, quote unquote, their show. And so what happens is, if you run alone, you wear out. I mean, you have to take vacations. You may get tired. You may want to go on to something else for a while. Well, when you're alone, you can't do that. But if you go together, you can take breaks. You got other help. You got reinforcements. You get fresh ideas. So what we're doing now is executing a fresh idea. Divine Capolango wanted to design, and she designed the product, the elaborate products. I mean, the logo was designed early on. We got a logo early on. But she took it into another clothing line design, which is quite attractive. So we Facebooked it, and people loved it. In our little group, we had 10 people, and we Facebooked it. And we focus grouped it. We focus grouped it and put it on Facebook. So if you want to look up our clothing line, it is on Facebook. But more than that, if you want to participate and learn with us, join us Saturday regulars, every Saturday from 1 to 4 across from Belle Isle. And go to the library and get your book on clothing and come and talk to us and join the team. This has been another Project B.A.I.T News Analysis, the Rambo Report for my people. This is another Project B.A.I.T news analysis, the Rambo Report for my people. You know, there's a new movie out. It's called Detroit. Theoretically, it's about the '67 rebellion and the incident at the Algiers Motel. And you know, online, black folk commentators, writers have been writing a whole lot about it. And virtually all of the comments online, and for that matter, in the press, have been negative. Okay, and what got me about it is a lot of them are telling, what should have been done, what should have been in it. Okay, and so, I was reading that, and generally speaking, I'm not particularly interested in movies. All right. So I expect I'll eventually, maybe after 6 months or a year, when my DVD hustler gets a copy, and he'll probably run it on me and say, Dave, I got this movie, and why don't you get it? So, maybe in a year or two, I might get to see it. But I'm not particularly interested in seeing it. Didn't go to the premiere for the show. But I think it is important to comment. The brothers and sisters saying, "Oh man, they did a bad job, and they goofed up the history, and that wasn't it." And I thought to myself, when is the last time when the slave master's filmmaker asked the slaves on the plantation about how to make a film? I mean, can you tell me? Anybody out there, when you're on a plantation, and Hollywood is a plantation, I mean, no doubt about it. Broadway is another plantation in New York, okay? Just as much a plantation as the auto plants were when they were in the city of Detroit. And when did Henry Ford ever ask you for any advice, any of his workers on the line for any advice, okay? Ask anybody black in the foundry, what do you think, Rascus, how we should operate the foundry? I don't think they ever did. I've never heard about it. So if you know, anytime for all of you who are experts in black history, okay, you historians, if you can please tell us when the slave master ever asked for the slave's advice on how to run the plantation. So why do you expect, in this particular case, that the slave master's filmmaker would ask you how to make a film and what to put in a film on the Algiers motel incident? I don't think so. Now, how do I know what I'm talking about? Because after all, I mean, folks should have some idea of what they're talking about when they make these statements. You probably remember, I mean, if you're old enough or into films, there was a film called The Birth of a Nation. It was made by D.W. Griffith. Okay? Black and white film. One of the early American films. I don't think you ask any black folks about being consultants on his film, and it is ranked as one of the greatest films ever made. And I've seen it, though I didn't pay to see it when it was first premiered, and Woodrow Wilson didn't invite me to the White House to view it when he viewed it and his group viewed it, okay? And you didn't get invited, and none of your ancestors get invited either. In fact, there was a great deal of consternation about it when it was made. Black folks boycotted it. Then there was another one made in 1939 by Warner Brothers Pictures. They were a big Hollywood company, and they made one called Gone with the Wind. You remember that one. That is also called one of the great American films. Hattie McDaniels played a maid in it, and she was nominated and won the first Academy Award that black folks ever got. And she made, they wrote her speech for her. They wrote her acceptance speech for the Academy Award. I don't think Warner Brothers ever asked any Negroes back in the day for any consultation on how to make Gone with the Wind. So why in heaven's name would any of you pundits think that this current group is going to ask for your interest? They don't give two hoots in a toot what you think, okay? I mean, after all, you know the rule. Whoever has the goal makes the rule. And if you think otherwise, well, try it. You can make a film. In fact, nowadays it's easier than ever to make a film. I mean, it used to be hard. Okay? Now, relatively speaking, technologically and economically speaking. So one of the things you have to do is get your money together and put your money where your mouth is. So no, I don't much care one way or the other what they did in the Detroit film. Don't care much what D.W. Griffith did with Birth of a Nation. Don't care what Warner Brothers did with Gone with the Wind. What I do care about is For My People. This has been another Project B.A.I.T. News Analysis, the Rambo Report, For My People.
The Saturday Irregulars, an urban think tank, meets weekly from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. across the street from Belle Isle at the northeast intersection of East Jefferson and East Grand Boulevard. No leaders, no elections, no officers, no dues, no in-groups. Thinkers and students are welcome. A choice, not an option.
Little Rock Baptist Church. Come and receive your blessings at the historic Little Rock Baptist Church, 9000 Woodward Avenue, 313-872-2900. Worship services are 10 a.m. and Sunday school 8:45 a.m. Enjoy an experience that will warm your heart and feed your spiritual soul. Little Rock Baptist Church.